And Acumatica, if you haven't heard of it, it is a bit of the anomaly. They dub themselves the Cloud ERP, the fastest growing Cloud ERP product in the market. But they are very, very interesting as it relates to this whole cloud conversation, because they have multiple licensing and deployment models. And you'll see that here. They have a true SaaS model where they'll host the environment for you. Even within their SaaS, they have certain differences as it relates to public or private tenancy for larger organizations. But in their SaaS model, you can license it with them hosting it for you, and you pay the annual subscription. They also offer a private cloud where you still pay for the software year over year, but you can control the hosting provider. You could take it to Amazon, AWS, or Microsoft Azure, and you can control your hosting provider. And then they have a third model where you buy the software outright, so you're not having to pay. One of the cons was the long-term year-over-year cost of the software subscription, where you buy it outright, but then you can put it in your own hosting provider or put it on your own server in on-premise. So at the end of the day, though, in the Acumatica world, your users would never know the difference. They're always going to go through the web browser, and that's the key. So you don't have to worry about all the infrastructure and the workstations. It all works, and that's on any device. You'll see here we've got tablets. If you have a smartphone, there's native apps for the iPhone, the Android, and it's a fully integrated ERP, so you don't have to go out to a bunch of third parties. So that's an interesting product, because if you need custom integration and you need to have it, access to the database on the back end, you might not go the SaaS route, but you could go PCS or PCP. Or maybe you have no technical infrastructure and no technical resources, and you wanted to get to the cloud, you could go SaaS model. So there's that's why I like the Acumatica approach, because it really fits almost every organization. Two, I just like to mention it because it's very unique, the unlimited users. They also don't charge by user, because in this new business model, as I'm bringing in people from different locations, maybe even my customers want to log in and see their invoices or a statement, or my subcontractors or 1099s might want to enter their invoices or expense reports. Well, I can do that with unlimited users and not have to charge them. So the Acumatica believes if the software and the functionality fit, we should be able to give it to everybody who interacts with our organization, those decision makers or influencers. Now, Microsoft SL, kind of more traditionally known as an on-premise solution, is slightly different in that you can do it, you can license it more on-premise and buy it outright, but you can now license it from a subscription basis. You'll see that here, and access it and put it out in the cloud and access your environment that way. They've also offered more recently web apps. So if you wanted to go through like a web browser, through HTML5 and run job reports or job queries. I know job cost is such a strong component of SL, and they've really done a lot to give users accessibility, and they've moved away from that fat client that you traditionally would use to access the software. So you can move SL to the cloud, and it can be more accessible for your users, even if they're not in your office. We at Crestwood are a Microsoft Tier 1 cloud CSP, so we're a cloud service provider, and we're moving a lot of our SL clients to the cloud. And another big benefit you'll see here, I've got it on the screen, is you don't have to deal with a fat client on the individual user's workstation. You can have them actually just connect like through RDP or another software, and it makes the upgrades a little bit easier. We also, kind of in the cloud hosting model, will do a lot of the monitoring for you. So that's another big one, just because we can kind of get hone into your server and understand if there's any performance issues, because we're constantly monitoring it through that CSP license in our CSP team. So a traditional product like Microsoft SL can be brought to the cloud, and you'll realize benefits immediately without having to do any relicensing. And you'll see here too, they're launching the Power BI, so you can do more business analysis with the cloud model. GP is very similar, and they've gone further. Microsoft GP has now the browser screens, so you don't have to log in through the fat client. You can, just like on the SL world, you can move it to the cloud without having to relicense the application. And again, we're monitoring it, ensuring performance is good, and that your users can use it wherever they're located. So you don't have to be in the office from that perspective. The final product product that I'd like to highlight before we'll get to some questions here is a new product, and it is more, it's also a Microsoft product called Microsoft Dynamics 365 for financials. It's more of your traditional SaaS license. So Microsoft hosts the environment. You pay as you go, if you will. But it's fully browser-based. There's not any kind of software you need to download on the user's workstation. And it is more of your SaaS licensed multi-tenant cloud provider. So it's not as functional yet because it's newer, but it's more of a traditional SaaS approach to the cloud. And really why this product is so interesting is because Microsoft is doing so much with the Office suite and integrating it kind of directly in with the Dynamics 365. So as D365 integrates with O365, those business productivity tools are really being leveraged as the business is operating. So again, a couple quick examples just to show you, even within existing products like SL and GP, there's kind of multiple avenues you can take. Acumatica, of course, you can kind of do anything, and this one a little bit more towards your SaaS licensing. So that's really what I wanted to present today. I'd love to turn it over to Jen to see if any questions came through, but I do want to close with one quick point. This is more of a high-level overview of the cloud. We do next week, if you are in the GP or SL world or the Dynamics world, Ben Borger, who heads up our cloud practice, is presenting more specifically on moving GP, SL, CRM to the cloud. And it'll be another great, a little bit more technical webinar to attend if you're interested in that. So that's next Wednesday. If you go to our website, you'll see on the events section how you can sign up for that webinar. But if you're curious into getting more details, that would be another webinar to attend. And in closing, this is a conversation, and I hope it is as confusing as it can be with the cloud and all the different models. It's a conversation that as you analyze your business and understand what are your needs, the cloud model and the approach will kind of come to the surface as you identify integrations and customizations. And so we'd love to be a part of that conversation. Crestwood, we really are at the forefront of this as we're analyzing where software in the industry is going. So we would love to be included in that conversation with you.